Hello folks, welcome back to World Music. This week we're going to be talking about the Middle East, the music and the cradle of great religion. So we're going to be looking at the countries of Turkey, Iran, Egypt, and the religious connotations of Sufism and Judaism. Now, just as a caveat, we will be talking about different world religions in this presentation, and by no means is this a promotion of those religions or a way of influencing those religions upon you, but they're just to take a look and to study the religions of the world and how they come together with music. As always, folks, you can find this presentation on our Google Classroom in the form of slides if you wish to go through it at your own pace. So here is the Middle East, the countries that we're going to be taking a look at. The first site is going to be here in modern day Turkey. Okay, our second and fifth site our first site is going to be coming from Uzbekistan. Our second and fifth site are going to be coming from Turkey. Our third site is from Iran. Our fourth site is from Egypt. Like I said, the fifth site is also from Turkey. And the sixth site is all about Judaism, which is going to be coming from Israel. All right, so a little bit of background information. The Middle East is a colloquial term that references the regions of West Asia as well as North Africa. The primary religions of this region are Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. They all worship the same God, but differ with respect to the divinity and how Jesus Christ came about. The ancient civilizations in this region, my mustache is very itchy, are of the cultures of ancient Greece and ancient Egypt. There's lots of influence on Europe from these Middle Eastern cultures, okay, especially the European Renaissance is rooted in the intellectual history that is related to the rise of Islam. We also get the languages spoken of Arabic, which is in Turkey, and the Persian ideals, okay, and the music of South Asia as well as Spain and Portugal are greatly influenced by Arabic musical traits. North Africa and Western Asia can be described as Arabic. Our first country, Turkey. We're going to be looking at two sites, the Islamic call to prayer, as well as the Arabic takazim for oud and butsuk. So, non-music versus music. Well, Muslims make a definite distinction between musical sounds that are used in the context of worship versus those that are found in the secular realm, or the non-religious realm. The Quranic, which is the Quranic chant, is based on the religious text called the Quran. It is the most spiritually powerful of all categories of non-music worship activity. The Quran is regarded as the word of God as revealed by Muhammad, and thus is the inspiration for much music and other artistic endeavors in the Middle East. Adhan is the call to prayer. It is performed 5 times per day. And then we get this music of the pilgrimage chants to the Hajj. And the Hajj is this annual pilgrimage, the annual walk or traveling that thousands of Muslims make from Mecca, from all over the Middle Eastern world to Mecca, which is in Saudi Arabia. We also get the eulogy chants and chanted poetry that come directly from the Quran. And one of the examples is found in the background here, okay, which is written in Arabic or Sanskrit, as well as translated here. Alif Lam Ra'a, which is a book which we have revealed to you, Muhammad, so that you may lead the people from out of the darkness into the light of their Lord's leave to the path of the Almighty, the praiseworthy. This comes from the Quran, and it is usually spoken and chanted during the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. So our first site is the Islamic call to prayer, which is also called the Adhan. Now, take a pause here, have a listen to this call to prayer on our Google Classroom, and then we'll join you back here. All right, so first impressions. The first impressions of the Adhan, or the Islamic call to prayer, is that it is a very heightened or holy speech. Okay, there are no instruments, just the use of the voice. It is very melismatic, very tuneful. Okay, and the vocalist uses the upper register of his voice to enable the voice to project better across the city. Okay, and in terms of the spoken word that is performed in the Islamic call to prayer is to Allah, which means God is great. Allahu Akbar, God is great. Some cultural considerations. As you can see here on the right, this is where the final location of the Hajj. This is Mecca. Okay, this is where, this is in Saudi Arabia. Now, Muhammad comes from the Quran. He is the central figure of the Islamic faith, and he is regarded as the mouthpiece of God, much like Jesus is in the Christian faith. Muslims are the followers of Islam, and they are considered people who surrender to God. A mosque, okay, is the building used for Islamic worship, and the mihrab, okay, is a small window or niche within a mosque that is always oriented towards the direction of Mecca. Okay, and this structure in the middle here is called the Kaaba. Okay, and it is believed to have been constructed by Abraham and his son Ishmael, or as we know to be Isaac in the Christian or the Catholic faith, and is considered the holiest site in Islam. The muezzin, okay, is this gentleman here. Okay, he is the figure who vocalizes, who calls to Muslims to prayer 5 times a day. Okay, the call to prayer is pronounced, the Adhan is pronounced 5 times a day by the gentleman who we call the muezzin. And we also get this really phenomenal mosque in Istanbul. It is called the Blue Mosque, which is it's actually called the Sultanahmet Camii Mosque. It was founded by Sultan Ahmet I in Istanbul in 1609. It still stands today, and it is nicknamed the Blue Mosque because of the prevalence of the blue coloring in the tile work that is found throughout the entirety of the mosque. And it is considered to be among humanity's greatest architectural achievements. So, non-music versus music. So now we're going to talk all about the music itself. Well, there's family and celebratory music where we get instrumentation such as a bass drum and cymbals, as well as other loud instruments, namely trumpets and the zurna, which is a double-reeded instrument. And we also get occupational music, right? Work music. The caravans, where you have traveling caravans of camels. Shepherds sing music, and they have work songs, as well as military music is based in these traditions. And one such form is called the Arabic takazm. Okay, pause the video here, have a listen to this second piece of music. All right, so the first impressions that I get are there's lots of improvisation in this music, and we have 2 different instruments, the al-oud, or also simply known as the oud, or the butzuk. Okay, the oud is up here and the butzuk is here. Okay, they are plucked lutes. They are chordophones because they have chords, strings. Okay, very similar to a guitar in Western traditions. Whoops. There's no frets on these instruments. On the oud, there's no frets. On the butzuk, there are frets, just like our modern day guitar. And the maqam is the compositional kit that comes with these instruments. Okay, they are played in free rhythm, so there's no set time signature or rhythm. There are 24 different pitches that are played. Now, we here only have 12 pitches to our octave, whereas in the Arabic forms of music, there are 24 pitches to the octave. Whereas when we have on our piano, we have 12 pitches between C to C. That includes the black and the white keys. But in Arabic music, especially in the Takism type style of music, there are actually keys or notes in between the black keys and the white keys. It's pretty interesting. And we call those microtones. So some cultural considerations to think about here in Turkey and the Takism style of Arabic music, okay, is that there's lots of Islamic attitudes towards music that are both legitimate for the worship, music for worship and functions, such as weddings. And there are lots of controversial notions to this music as well. Art or music for entertainment is not really found here. People don't play music simply for entertainment. There has to be a purpose, such as for worship or for a wedding or a funeral. Let's move to Iran. All right, so we are now in Iran. There are 75 million people that populate Iran. It is a mostly mountainous country. Most Iranians speak Persian, or what we would call Farsi, not Arabic. It is predominantly Shia Muslim. Okay, Shia is the cultural group, as well as there's the more liberal branch of Islam called Sunni. So there's Sunni and Shia Muslims. The Shia Muslim cultural group is more conservative, and the Sunnis are a little bit more liberal. We have a theocracy that was established in Iran since 1977, okay, where priests rule the country in the name of Allah or God, and they call them ayatollahs or imams. And the most current one is Ayatollah Ali Khomeini II. Okay, Ayatollah Ali Khomeini II. He is the ruler of Iran at this time. All right, so we come to our third style of music. Have a pause here and go ahead to our Google Classroom and listen to this piece, please. All right, so we call this dastgah santur music or voice music. Okay, the santur is what you see here on the right. It is a hammered zither. Remember, a zither is an instrument where you have strings that are stretched across a resonating board and that are either plucked or struck. And this one, the santur, is struck with these little hammers. The dastgah, okay, is a form of music that is in the Persian or the Iranian style. Okay, and there's two sections to the sections to the dastgah music. We have the gushe, which is a very short melodic Persian composition, and then we have the radif, which is a collection of the gushes. So there's many gushes, many short melodic tunes that form a whole radif. So some cultural considerations. We have the schools of dastgah, where Persian classical music is closely associated with schools of performance practices. Each school has its own radif, or collection of gushe compositions, as well as techniques for connecting these gushe together into much longer compositions. It is not metered. Okay, it's very free rhythm, very spiritual, but there is classical undergrounds because classical music is still not allowed in Iran. And after the 1979 political revolution, many musicians had to perform in secret for entertainment and artful reasons. All right, let's move to our next country, Egypt. So we are now in Egypt, the home of pyramids and pharaohs. We also have the Suez Canal, which was constructed in 1869, that connects the Red Sea to the Mediterranean Sea. And we also have, Egypt is very influential in terms of our modern era. Lots of tourism. People go to see many of the ancient sites in Egypt, as well as the urban areas are very modern, much like our modern day cities, while rural Egypt is still exceptionally ancient and archaic. In rural Egypt, in the farmlands, the small communities spread across Egypt, there's still oxen who pull carts, and they still build buildings out of mud bricks and not cement in the rural parts of Egypt. Okay, we come to our fourth form of music. So if you'd like, please pause the video here, have a listen to this fourth piece. It is called the Arabic Taht Ensemble. Taht ensembles generally play metered music, okay, structured music with a set beat, and may or may not include vocalists. The first impressions that I get here is we get these belly dance style music, right, that come out of here. Very graceful, very nice, sonorous sounds. The Taht, okay, the melody is formed by the oud. Remember, it's that fretless plucked guitar, the lute that we saw. We also have the kamanji, which is a fretless bowed lute, right? We're using a bow with no frets. We have the kanun, which is a plucked zither, which we'll take a look at, as well as the ney, which is a vertical flute. The dulab, the Taht music is broken up into three different parts. The dulab, which is the instrumental introduction to the music. The bashraf, which is a form of a recurring melody, so that repeats over and over again. And the ik'a'at, which is the rhythmic section that is also repeated over and over again in a recurring theme. Here are the instruments that we just talked about. Okay, we have from left to right here, we have the oud, right, our fretless guitar. We have the kanun, which is a plucked zither, as well as we have our tabla, which we looked at a couple weeks ago, which is a small skinned drum. We also have the ney, which is a flute, and we have the duff, the tabla, and the rik, different types of percussion struck instruments. And some cultural considerations. Okay, out of this style of music is the belly dance. Now, in Western society, there's a very a big stereotype that we get from belly dance culture, okay, where females have bare midriffs, right? There's nothing, you can see their stomachs as they move and belly dance. Well, in the Arabic world, this is not allowed, and traditional belly dancing, you do not see bare skin. They are covered up. Okay, they are master dancers, and the music evokes emotion, where you have the harmony is not present in the music. Okay, there's a focus on how each musician plays the melody. So solo acts. And Arabic music focuses on the expression of emotion through performance, rather than the intellectual concepts such as imagery. All right, we're moving in now to our two last ideas and religious ideas. The first is Sufism. Okay, Sufism. Remember, we talked from Iran. Okay, the Sunni and the Shia branches of Islamic cultural traditions. Now, followers of the Sunni and Shia branches. Now, remember, okay, Sunni is more liberal, more free. Shia is more conservative in terms of following the traditions of Islam. And they are often critical of the Sufi branch. So Sunni and Shia branches of Islam are often critical of Sufism, of the Sufi branch of Islam, because of the unique rituals borrowed from other religions and traditions. They are less conservative in terms of strictly following the Islamic faith. We have this idea of the mystical branch of Islam. The Sufism branch is the mystical branch of Islam, where yoga activities play a key role in Sufi rituals, and the music is considered to have healing or spiritual powers. Notes for the woolen, which is the the woolen robes, or the suf robes. Okay, there are two sets. You have the outer robe, which is black, which symbolizes the dark realm of non-religious work, and the inner robe, which is white, which symbolizes the purity of heaven or God. Now, Sufism is the most common religion in Turkey as well as in Pakistan, and the monasteries will find a lot of people who practice Sufism in the forms of dervishes. The beggars will come to the monasteries in both Turkey and in Pakistan. So pause the video here. Have a listen to this piece, the Sufi Dikar ceremony music. All right. So the first impressions that I get is they get this spinning top vocal whirl sound. Okay, there's vocal cries that are heard over this hearty chant that is in the background. It's very, very reminiscent of Greek dancing music, as we'll look at in a bit, next week. 2 weeks from now, sorry. The oral analysis. We have the ney, which is the flute, this tacht instruments. We get unison singing that shift, the tonal center shifts from one group to the next, one vocalist to the next. And this is then followed by melismatic or very flowing chant music in free rhythm. There's no set rhythm to it. And we hear in the background this deep, raspy Allah chant. Okay, it's very mythical. It gives us very, very nice kind of oral sound to it. It's awesome. Some cultural considerations. Dikr means remembrance, and it refers to the remembrance of God, of Allah. The music as a spiritual ladder. So while the mainstream branches of Islam, as we talked about, are Sunni and Shia, they prohibit music as worship. But Sufis' belief is that music can assist a person's soul to climb through the evolutionary stages that lead to a oneness with Allah, a oneness with God. Okay, the spiritual ecstasy, the oneness with God, with Allah. And as you can see in the picture here, we get the whirling dervish. Okay, dervish, remember, are beggars. And you can see, right, there's a gentleman here. He's wearing the two robes, the black on the outside and the inner robe is white. But as they start to dance, the black robes are thrown away and you get the more vibrant white robes underneath. Okay, and this dance is where they spin continuously, and the spinning is believed to help believers detach from their daily lives and connect more with Allah. Our last religion that we're going to talk about is Judaism, which is primarily found in Israel. To the right here, this photo is the Wailing Wall, okay, where people go to pray. Most Jewish people live in Europe, North America, or Israel. The worldwide population of Jewish people is 15 million, roughly. Israel, okay, it was a country that was created following World War II in 1948, where Jewish people could go and find a safe haven to practice their religion and to flee the persecution from many of the European countries. This Jerusalem is the Holy Land described in the Bible. But there is this diaspora where Jewish populations, there's a good number of Jewish populations living outside the Middle East, in Israel in particular. And we have this Sephardic or Ashkenazi, okay, which is Sephardic Jewish people are those, that's the diaspora. So Sephardic Jewish people are those living with Middle Eastern ancestry, and Ashkenazi are those that have the European descent. And our last piece of music is the Jewish cantillation. Okay, it's best known. It is best known Jewish music. It is called the klezmer, which is associated with the Ashkenazi populations. And Sephardic music is more akin to the Arabic traditions, because remember, the Sephardic people have their roots, their ancestry based from the Arabic Middle Eastern side. Pause the video here. Let's have a listen to the Jewish cantillation. All right, welcome back. My first impressions are this is a sung recitation. It's very spiritual in nature, very religious in nature, and it is sung, vocalized. There are a couple of different instruments, or one instrument, that is used. It is called the shofar. It is a ram's horn that is blown into, as you can see here, by the Wailing Wall. Okay, speech rhythm is vocalized and is heard in the shofar itself. So this, what is sung is imitated in the shofar horn playing. Lots of melody here, and the text that is sung is based in the Jewish or the Judaic cultural traditions and religious traditions that are found in the text of Hebrew. The Torah is written in Hebrew, okay, and the Torah is the entire body of Jewish religious law. Just like the Holy Bible is to the Catholic and Christian faith, the Torah is the same for the Judaistic faith. Okay, and it is the entire body of Jewish religious law and learning, which includes both the sacred literature and the oral tradition literature. The scroll with the Pentateuch, okay, which is the first 5 books of the Torah, is generally used for speech singing in a synagogue. And a synagogue is the Jewish house of worship. Okay, as you can see in the background here, this is the hall of a synagogue where the Torah would be read. Okay, and one of the most famous synagogues, the largest synagogue, is the synagogue of Santa Maria la Blanca in Toledo, Spain. All right, folks, that's everything for today. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at any point in time. Don't forget to answer this week's discussion question on the music of the Middle East, the cradle of the religious cultures. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. Bye for now.